This week's episode of One of a Kind with RVD is presented by Get Blitzed. That's get-blitz.com. Get Blitz Let's Aid is nano-infused THC syrup, and it is a premium cannabis-infused syrup formulated with nanotechnology for fast-acting effects. And you can get 15% off your order when you head to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off. Head to get-blitz.com, promo code RVD, 15% off. It's one of a kind, baby.
Oh boy. Oh man, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. And it's a nighttime. I'm Dominic D'Angelo. And this is One of a Kind with RVD. Rob Van Dam. Rob, how are you?
Great.
Yes. Nailed it.
Fantastic. Can you believe it's garbage day again already?
Dang it, garbage day. Dang it. Why does it always happen on a Thursday, Rob?
Happy Rikishi's Thong Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm. Happy
Yeah.
Thick Thursday with the two C's.
Happy Throgneck's Bridge Thursday.
Wait, what was that one?
Throgneck's Bridge, isn't that something?
What is that?
It's in New
Is
York.
that like a sexual maneuver?
No, it's a bridge somewhere in the east.
Oh, okay.
Y'all in that part of the country are supposed to know each other's bridges and highways and roads.
I am in Pittsburgh, the city of
How do I
bridges.
get to LIE from here?
Oh God, you are asking the wrong person right here.
Okay.
I am awful with directions. I need the Garmin and the MapQuest combined.
I love asking little Guido that question. It's just something we asked him forever ago, and it became like a never-ending spot.
Yeah.
Little Guido, how to get to LIE from here? I don't even know. When we were in the New York area, his area, I think everybody hit him up for directions, and so I would do that no matter where we're at. We could be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I'd be like, "Quiz, how do I get to LIE from here?"
Well, I'm excited to. So I clipped up the D. Malenko story you had last week, and it's going to publish tomorrow on rvdtv.com. So I'm excited to see if people get their opinion to see if Dean was ribbing you or if he actually needed you to get there on time. So.
Okay, yeah, I forgot the story you were talking about. There's several Dean Malenko stories. I've known that character for a while.
Yes. It's so wild because I remember Dean when I was a WCW fan, and he was the Iceman. He was so serious, and he was so like always messing with his wristbands and walking in the ring, and he was just a badass, like just a shooter basically. And then then you just hear all the stories of how great of a sense of humor he has, how funny he is.
Right, yeah, it's so funny to think of him being serious, but he is in the ring. His character's serious, but yeah, he's a nonstop walking joke box, always trying to make people laugh. With silly one-liners and stuff, not pointing out, like, dude, look, he's got toilet paper hanging from his, for him, it's more like, hey, you know how to make a handkerchief dance? Put a little boogie in it, and I'll just look at you. Just real stupid and dry, and it's I appreciate him, always have.
Well, you know how you did the that show with RJ City when you were doing the AEW thing? You did the
yeah.
So he did one too. And
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining.
I bet it is. Yeah.
He fits right in with that. But guys, we are live. If you want to get a question in, you can use the super chat. That will help you get eyes on it. Yes, be sure to check out onlywrestlers.com if you haven't yet. It's growing. It's a nice little platform that RVD has and Katie has started up. So be sure to check it out. And hit
posting on there right now, and by the way, I can be messaged at Only Wrestlers, and so far I am able to respond to all the messages. So I don't know that I always will be able to, and it might take me a couple of days, but I am able to. So that's usually I don't have a place out there that makes it easy to get a hold of RVD. Like that's one of the mysteries about RVD. Like when it comes to booking me, like someone one time in a convention said, hey, who do we get a hold of or whatever to book you? And I was just stumped. I was like, And I was like, damn, and like hit me, I mean, unless I give you my email, which I don't want everyone to have, obviously, it's not like public,
Yeah.
then it's like, hit me up on social media and I might respond, I might not, like for I think most of my career anyway, I don't have a message on my phone, so I don't confirm that you got the phone number right. So, if I was really wanting to do more business, I'd probably have a voicemail so you to confirm because a lot of people might just hang up when it rings and then it just stops ringing. I would hang up. I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's his number or not, um, but that has always kind of been my way. That's why like when an agent will ask another party like if they can book me, and I say if I gotta get mine, and then if you get something on top of that for your commish, then let me know if you got some bookings. I'm all ears. And then bam, then they put on social media, you can book RVD, get a hold of me here. And then I'm like, oh, that sounds desperate, like I always think that, which is maybe a silly way to think because business is business, but it's just not the way that you go when you're the whole effing show.
Yeah, and then once you get the your connections made with people that have booked you consistently and different events that are aware of you, then you don't necessarily have to worry like trying to, hey, I'm available
And
for
a
this.
lot of times it's like more often than not, it isn't gonna work out. It's not worth my time. So I need some filters, some people to first talk about some terms and see if it should even go past that because some people have way different expectations in their mind, and especially if they're like a startup and they're just like, man, it'd be a dream if you could come to, Frankfurt City Wrestling Federation. We got 120 people in our crowd, and we're building. And I just know with you there, we'd sell out. It's like, nah, dude, you can't afford me. I don't need to hit you back, bro. You're not. You're not in the same game.
Mm-mm. Yep, people have some certain expectations that they can't get
But good
met
luck.
sometimes. But good
But
luck
good,
on that.
yes.
Good luck on that.
A lot of times, I mean, I know you've heard the expression: the same people you see on the way up, you see on the way down. I at length I went into a little detail about how a lot of my peers handle their careers, and they just, they try and cash in every bump on their bump card, and they go through their peak and then back down, and they say, man, you gotta, as long as you can still get booked, man. And they break their body down, and they break their value down, and then they just work their way out of the business by being somebody that maybe somebody might remember from 30, 40 years ago, or whatever. But that's part of that process too. I mean, obviously I did all the small indie shows. I came up through all of those, but I don't see me going back down through all of them. And it's not that I don't do indie shows, but I have standards and I don't go backwards on those. So from that perspective, it's not like forgetting where you came from. It's just about continuing to grow.
Yeah, and then just ultimately how you want to, like, we talk about like how image is kind of key with a lot of wrestlers. It should be in a lot of ways, and you want
With
to keep that
everybody.
image with everybody,
Yep.
So it makes plenty damn sense. Plenty damn sense. Uh, TA says garbage day here too. Thanks for the reminder. So hey, we're helping people out. How about that?
Yes.
Triple E says, how'd RVD stand up go? How'd that go for you, Rob?
It was good. It was fun. It was a very small show,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it was like a variety show because Axel Anzo did stand up. There was a girl that sang, and there was Tim Chismar, the comedian
Yeah,
friend of
Tim.
mine. He read a passage from his book, like for that was a little different. And then there was a magician, so it was kind of like I don't know if the place maybe paid for it. I think maybe the place that ran the building or something. But it was small, but it was fun. I had fun. Had fun with my set, and told jokes that I don't normally tell for my benefit, and then it was so small that it was like you couldn't get nervous in front of a room full of 20 people or something like that, and so I thought like, wow, they good testing. There was a couple of things that everybody responded to that they really liked. I said, oh, okay, I'm going to use that next time and stretch it out, elaborate, work on it, and put some more into that subject. So it was cool for that.
Well, so maybe it's different for you when you do stand up in comparison to doing wrestling. Do you feel more comfortable in front of a larger crowd or in front of a smaller crowd? Or is it different between the two, too? You know?
Um, I would say either way. I think if you're in front of thousands and thousands of people, that there's a higher edge of nervousness, of performance anxieties. There's a lot more pressure. There's a lot more on the line.
True, yeah.
And it's like, I hope I don't trip and fall on my face out there in front of 10 people versus I hope I don't trip and fall on my face out there in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah, yeah. Did you
Pretty
ever
good.
see Batista's WrestleMania with Triple H? And he came out in like these SUVs, all these SUVs pulled out, and Batista walks out, and his music hits, and then he trips. He
Was
trips
it when he's
walking in
doing
the
this
ring.
machine gun
I
or,
think it
or
was. I
I don't
think it
know?
was. He tripped, but then he handled it so well because he got right back up and just like kind of laughed about it, and then just kind of did it again, and then went into the ring. It was really actually a pretty cool moment, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen it or not because I think Goldberg also tripping, and I got in my head. I'm not sure which one it was that I saw, but it seemed like it was like maybe while the explosions were going off or something, or maybe he tripped on the lights or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, but the funniest moment of all time is during the Royal Rumble when brother comes running down and trips and slides right
Oh,
under the ring.
Titus
Yeah,
O'Neil.
Titus.
Oh my gosh.
I was crying. Like that was one of those. Those are one. That's one of those times where like that's probably the most I laughed in the whole year, within a 12-month window.
Really?
Yeah, I was just crying. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. At least it was up there. It reminds me of another time when I was crying. Um, Man, this was so long ago, 20 years ago maybe. But my mom and dad. Matter of fact, this was when you used to be able to walk down to the gate when you weren't flying. But my mom and dad had taken me to the airport, and I was leaving wherever they were, and we were going through security to head down towards the gate. And when my dad walked through the scanner, it beeped, beep 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 beep, and so and he turned around and he's like, "Oh, what the hell?" And he took his watch off and he went through again, beep, 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 beep. And then this time, now he's a little faster. My dad was like a type A person. Like he'd get mad for no reason, fly off the handle. He'd go, "Oh, what the hell?" Like for no reason. He's just like, bam, instantly, like he'd be pissed. And, after like the second time that it beat, he was like sure that he had it this time. He came through and he's like, "Oh, well, and he's breathing hard and he took something out of his pocket and he just knew this time that was going to be it. So he walks through, this time aggressively, he walks through and it goes beep, beep, beep. As soon as it beeped, he turned around, he did like a 180, like, to go back through it. And when he did, he tripped. And when he tripped, he put his hands up on the sides of the scanner
Uh-huh.
and the whole thing tipped and was falling over. And like the security guys, like caught it.
Yeah.
And I was on the floor laughing. It was so fucking funny. I was about pissing my pants. It was so funny. It reminds me of Titus sliding out of the ring. Like
Oh
there's
my.
times in between when I laugh that hard, and it's just like, oh my god, like what a treat.
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex, guys. Remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get the extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you receive prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in the line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. They always say first impressions are important. What about lasting impressions? Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RVD at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RVD to receive your first month free. Visit Blue Chew for more details and important safety information. And we, RVD and I, thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Is there a moment when you're like, did you have a moment like that at all, walking to the ring or doing anything like that really stands out to you? Like, I really fucked up. I look like such an idiot or something like that.
Yeah, but it was in a small show in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Not on TV or anything. So this was 93, I guess. And could have been 94. And my sister was at the show, and that's why I always remember it, because she was in the crowd watching. And I went up to do a springboard in the middle of the rope from the apron in. And of course, the rope rolled under my feet and I slipped and I fell on my stomach. And I looked up and I looked right at her and I just went, and I just like laughed and put my face down and then just like kept going.
Yeah.
And so she'll bring that up every once in a while. She remembers that. And it wasn't long after that I was like, I don't have to do springboards,
They're not that key.
Yeah. It's like I was still at the time where I was trying to do everything. And then eventually I learned, sometimes I want to challenge myself or show that I got, something cool to show. Otherwise, it was easier to have a perfect or a great match by trimming some of the risks out that might fuck that whole thing up and make it, instead of a good match, something that you laugh at and resent.
Yeah. The thing I like about like watching your older matches in ECW and stuff, when it comes to like you wrestling Sabu and certain things like that, there's moments where it's just like boom. There's the legitimacy to it because of like the stiffness of the kicks and what you guys are doing, or whether it comes to that. But there's also some moments where it's like you don't necessarily hit the target quite right all the time and stuff like that. But I think it kind of adds to kind of the element of the match and the story of like what we first see. Like, we haven't seen that stuff before when it first happened. And so like I think that kind of elevated those matches and added to the stakes to them, I think.
Lovey wants to
look at Lovey. Look at Lovey.
Oh, so sweetheart. So sweet.
She's a cutie.
Yeah, I mean, I think about when I dropped the chair and rolled, I was going to monkey flip Sabu onto it, and then the chair like popped open with all the legs sticking up.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And also I remember one time when I was in the corner, and I've seen this somewhat recently. That's why I remember it. But I was sitting in the corner, and Sabu ran up to the top rope next to me like he was going to do a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. And I think I pushed his leg, and then boom, he, crotches himself. And then I don't know, he falls off, and I like jump off and kick him or something. I don't know what it was, but when we were watching it, it was somebody was showing it on their show, and they were laughing, thinking that Sabu slipped and that we just like saved the moment by whatever we did. And it's moments like that that make me happy to know, that there's still a lot of gray area where people just don't know and they think they do know. Right. Sabu did that to himself a lot. He would try to fool like Meltzer and the report.
That's
and
great.
So he would purposely, because he'd say, you're not going to land it every time perfect, you know, like every once in a while, that's real. Of course you're going to slam. That's realistic or whatever. And he'd be in that state of mind. And a lot of times he would do something and seem to miss for no reason, and it just made sense with his psychology, and everybody would think like, oh my god, he's missing more spots than a window washer with cataracts, man. This guy, also, you know, we were laughing because we knew the whole time, like, these guys think they know everything. They're marks.
That's awesome. Was that something he kind of adapted from the Sheik, or is that something he took on his own? Like he's like, I want to be unpredictable like that, and kind of do something that that keeps
Hey,
people on their toes and guessing.
everything's about being unpredictable. That, you know, that's why, like, for me, how I took that and applied that principle to myself is I like to misdirect before I do something. And it makes it so much more interesting. You know, that's why, like, before I hit the ropes, sometimes, you know, I'll just be like, and then I go and then I'll look and then I go run. Or like, bam, I'm in the corner and someone's coming at me. I like the person that's running at me to not know if I'm going to get out of the way or if I'm going to stay in there. I like to wait till the very last second and not even look at them. Look like I'm looking at the crowd or something. And then for sure I'm going to get hit. They're so close. But then I'll grab the second rope and whew, and just boom, nobody's home, and pull myself out of there. That's how I make it unexpected. And I don't understand how that got lost. Like if you leave the corner, I kept pausing it the other day, watching some wrestling with Katie, and I'd be like, it just, I can't help it. I take it personally, and it starts like offending me, some of the things that they do. And so I would pause it. I did this several times, rewind it, pause it, and I'd say, look, that person moved, and the person that's running at them is still in the middle of the fucking ring. They still got 2 steps and a jump, and the person is already moved. Yeah. What happened to making somebody, you know, to get in the crowd to not know what's going to happen? You completely lose that element when you just get out of the way because you're not fast. You don't trust your slow ass, and so you're going to make it predictable. And the reason I get offended is because you're making that other person look like an idiot. Right. With enough experience, they'd stop. I would stop. If I was running towards a corner and one of these new guys just moved out of the way, I would just stop and look at them, you know, and kick them or whatever. But when you're young and green, you're thinking like, you know, of what you had in mind, and you're going to kind of go through it, even though it makes you look stupid. And I, like I said, I really get offended. I got to learn. That's something Katie decided to not get offended when I watch wrestling. But I'm like, why would they do that? Like what? And it just, it gets me kind of worked up. There was several times I paused it. I said, look, this person is rolling and the other person is about to jump off. They haven't even got their foot up on the top rope yet. And they seem to, you know, maybe it's like safety first now. That's what I ascertained years ago from watching the change that wrestling is doing with society, you know, and being the whole cancel culture and what's coming after that with the whole shocked population, everything with all that. They completely are taking out a lot of the emotion that should be in the match just because they're physically not doing it right, in my opinion. And not everything, you know, but things like that are so important.
Well, like there's, to your point, I see so many times where like guys, you just see it's all rehearsed, and it's like they're timing this out, and it's just like it's like a routine, and it does take you out of it, and it kind of just like, come on, I'm not buying into any of this. And like what they're doing is athletic. Oh, it's Barbie. Barbie's in the house.
Barbie D.
Love you.
Her and Lovey wrestle all day.
Oh man. I love
wrestling.
But yeah, I think it does really take you. Katie picks up on that stuff too a lot now, like that when she's watching with you, or do you?
I don't know. I'm always pointing it out to her. I can say that. Yeah, you know, I'm always making a point of it, make sure that she understands it. Mm-hmm. Always have.
Yeah. I bet that it kind of drives you nuts a little bit sometimes.
Probably, yeah.
So we got a couple super chats from Maddie. Another Maddie. He says, RVD to Raw would be cool. Three-way dance between Bronson Reed versus Seth Rollins. Ooh, how about that? You and
How
Bronson
random,
Reed.
though.
Yeah, that is pretty random. You'd fit right in. Well, he's been doing the tsunami. Have you seen him doing that? He's splashing down on Seth Rollins and stuff like that.
Oh, is the tsunami like a frog splash?
Well, no. So it's just a straight up splash, but he doesn't even like jump off. He just kind of like dives down, and it's just like crashes down onto Seth Rollins or whoever he's going against because he's such a big dude, and
Check it
it's
out.
kind of a neat visual. So that would be the tsunami versus 5-star frog splash would be pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool.
Cool.
And then
Well,
Maddie
check
also
it out.
adds that I used to get frustrated when WWE would PG RVD. Would that kind of frustrate you, or did you just kind of understand the name of the game, kind of thing?
Well, I wasn't super comfortable with that era. And then maybe I felt like I had tighter cuffs on me than I really did. That might have been how that affected me because, like a lot of people, it would come across to the fans like, dude, they're not letting you be, RVD from ECW. They're not letting you do any of your shit. But then I would know, like, well, I only have 3.5 minutes for my whole match, and chairs are illegal here, so of course you're not going to get the same RVD because just everything about ECW was different. But I think it all started with the fact, as far as my approach to the match, my vibe, my rhythm, whatever. I had no thoughts of time in my mind. I thought like, okay, I'm gonna walk around the ring a little bit. Maybe I'll go to lock up, and then maybe I'll just instead roll under the rope and go do some thumbs and high five some fans or whatever, and take my time, and get everyone, and then come back in, be like, okay, now I'm ready. Like with WWE, it just seemed like the whole agenda was about live TV and about getting everything done by that boom, that finishing mark. And we're not diving into the crowd and fighting with chairs and weapons and swearing and bleeding and busting through tables. Now they do. Now I think they do it too much, because whenever I see an announcer table getting broke, I'm like, does that even mean anything anymore?
Right.
Like
I feel the same
it's
way.
seems like, yeah, every single, same thing with the dives, same thing with the Stone Cold Stunner, same thing with the Canadian Destroyer.
Super kicks.
It's like every single match had to have all of these elements in it. It seemed like for a long time, but I feel like they're busting out of that now, and it's awesome. It's good to see them busting out of that, because for a while it was hard for me to fathom like what they're doing or why they're doing that, why it's changed in that way. Why does everybody want to do moves that other wrestlers got over? I don't know, but I think that we're getting out of it and back a little bit to the way the wrestling was before, and maybe not with every company, but that offers them a good chance to be different if they go different directions.
Right. Definitely different flavors, different strokes for different folks. Jim the Dawn adds, I loved that about ECW, the little pauses in between the big spots to let it breathe. So you were taking note of that for
It
sure.
was really soaking in the moment, and man, what some great moments too. When the crowd was so fired up, you had to soak that up. And man, I can't imagine having to work around a time limit and having those matches that I had. The matches I had with Jerry Lynn, I'd be like running, diving over the guardrail on him, going to the ring. How much time we got? Okay, we gotta get back in the ring. Boom. It's that made the biggest difference. And the first time I remember being at a WWE show, this was during the run-in, the 1997 invasion. So when I
Yeah.
wrestled Jeff Hardy and T Cold Scorpio was Flash Funk and the Headbangers, and JR was with me during that little run. I saw in the dressing room a page with rules on it.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I didn't know if this was going to be in there every single day or not, but everything on it was probably for us. That makes sense for the ECW guys.
Oh,
Everything that was on the list was stuff that we do at every match that we can't do. You know, it was like no middle fingers, no swearing, no looking at the camera, no going over the guardrail, no chairs, no tables, no, like it was a huge list of rules, and I just figured that's because this show was so much more controlled. Steve Austin's probably going to use the middle finger in the main event, and they got a big buildup, so it means a lot. So if people are doing it earlier in the card, it doesn't mean as much in the end. And the whole show, if you think about it with WWE, is approached more in a holistic manner like that.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Whereas on indie shows, maybe the first match sometimes will go out and go 30 minutes and it'll be a ladder match and do every spot in the book. And you're like, why would they start the show like that? But WWE was kind of the opposite because they kind of looked at the whole show. And so if you were going to do something, you might have to get it approved ahead of time because somebody else might be doing that, before or after you, and that would be an issue.
Do you think that's a good thing to do too? Is kind of like that kind of structure of like, hey, let's go get this approved or see what we can do, so we don't step on one another's toes like throughout the whole card of the thing. Do you think that's
Yeah, it's a good
yeah?
idea. It's a good idea. Me and Sabu used to always say, how do we know what we're going to do? We're not out there. I heard Sabu say that once, and then I got that from him. The camera guy from TNA would come up to him. Are you guys going to be flying over the guardrail like any, because I want to make sure I get in. He goes, how do I know? I'm not in the ring yet. And we didn't like talking to those guys and stuff, but it is a good for business.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's good for for catching the product, which is what you're trying to do. So, yeah, absolutely. And it was never like a free for all in ECW, you know what I mean? But I never would hold somebody back. Like even if I thought it was wrong, I kind of a lot of times would tend to take the personal approach to how I would answer a request. If someone came up to me and said, "Hey, Rob, do you mind? Do you mind if I'm in the second match? Do you mind if I do a splash off the top rope? I know that's your finisher, but do you mind if I do it?" And even if I thought, like, motherfucker, like that's you shouldn't do that, I still wouldn't tell him though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would instead of looking at it because I wasn't a man, an office guy,
Hmm.
and I didn't take the obligation personally to do everything I could for the betterment of the whole night. You know what I mean? So like if it was like sometimes they would even ask about it, and this is not ECW, this is now like somebody in these shows. So in the last couple of years, someone asked me, "Do you care if I do a Van Daminator during the show?" Like, you
What?
know, like I mean, maybe it'll come across like a tribute because they know RVD's on in the main event.
Yeah, but it's still
Otherwise,
selfish. It's like,
otherwise, but but still, I'm usually going to be like, "Hey, knock yourself out, bro."
yeah,
You can get over like I can.
yeah. Ah,
That's usually even if I don't think that they should do it, because then it's like there's office to the boys and there's the boys to the boys. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
When it comes to boys to the boys, I don't appreciate it when somebody uses the process of holding others back or down to get ahead. So I'm very cognizant of that.
Yeah, and like a person doing something like that, like if they were, like, hey, can I do a Van Daminator? And you're like, yeah, go ahead. They're going only just going to think of you, and I think somebody doing something like that, it's kind of selfish on their end because hey, RVD's on the card. Well, look at what I'm doing. Here's RVD's Van Terminator.
I really just mostly like will hope that someone else talks to them, whoever's in
Yeah,
charge of the
yeah,
show, agent, boss, whatever, someone will pull them aside. Not me.
right. Yeah, you'd think some of these talents, read the room talents, you know. RVD's in the room, okay?
Yeah, right. You called it, dude. You called it a Van Daminator. Like it's not even like you. That's my move, bro.
Yeah, right, right. That didn't come from Jean Claude, okay? Just so you know.
It's not like he said, "Do you care if I do a spinning back kick into a chair into this guy's face?" He told me,
Right. You don't do that, right, Rob?
Which for a while, like it took me a while to get used to everyone doing it, everyone else's moves because they even go by the name and give credit to the person that they're stealing it from, and
Hmm.
that's just so different than the way that I got trained. I mentioned this a lot and did a documentary the other day about getting trained. Something that Sabu and I were both part of about the Sheik that you will find out about soon enough.
Hmm.
And um, man, I was always taught don't don't try and be like someone else because there's already one of those guys.
Yeah.
And don't try and take someone else's position because he's already got that position. That position's already taken. Be yourself, create your own position. And man, if I would have like not only stolen moves from other wrestlers, but actually called it after them, like Sheik would have stabbed me if I would have said, I want to learn how to do a Stone Cold Stunner, and do a RKO they'd be like, what? Like those are the names. It's almost like you're confessing to stealing it by naming them. You're providing the evidence. You're like, yeah, I stole it. Look, there's footage right there. It's just so different from the way I got trained. And like everybody would do a body slam, but when it came to finishes, it used to seem like, okay, yeah, that torture rack that goes to Hercules in WWE. Lex Luger maybe down south.
Yeah.
Boom, that was it. And then it came to the era of everybody wants to show that they can do every move. And then you got 5 foot guys that are 200 pounds or less doing power bombs to big people.
Crazy.
I
Crazy.
saw Tessa Blanchard power bomb Brian Cage, and I cried. I cried at what the business has become. Like talk about doing something that's out of your realm. It's like Moose is so big. He wants to show he can get clothesline and do 360s and do backflips. And it's like it literally takes from him being big, but it's hard to understand that when you're in that perspective because you think it shows how athletic and active you are and agile that you are. But at the same time, man, I'm not going to clothesline that guy and make him do a 360 flip. He's like 275 pounds. Dude's huge. Shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. And anyway, sometime in the 2010s, somewhere around there, the business was changing. And I was finding out, when I was wrestling all these guys, like, wow, they do it totally different. Sammy was one of the guys. I wrestled him at a show up in New York. He was coming to WWE. It was really big news. And then we were going to wrestle each other. It was going to be like a big match for him, maybe his blow off in Albany or whatever. And
Hmm.
then, bam, guess what? RVD's coming back to WWE. This was in 2013 for my return. But when I wrestled him, that's when I realized, like, wow, they're going to change you so much, so much. Like this, your whole wow, wow. And as I was telling them, like the way you guys do things is just like so doesn't make sense with our logic that we've always been using so far. And he tells me that was like one of the pivotal matches for him where he really learned a lot, which I didn't even know, but he told me years later. And man, after that, even being in TNA during that run, 2010 to 2013, it was like didn't matter what size you are, you're doing power moves and acrobatic moves. Everyone does everything, and there's no distinguishing. For the excitement of a man. Oh, here's a really big guy against a little guy, but the big guy is going to be the one that's doing the flips and stuff, and the little guy, he's going to gorilla press the big guy. It's going to be it's going to be like a great match in Bizarro World.
Well, Rob, you talked about this on one of the early episodes. I want to even say it was like episode 4. You talked about like knowing the realm that you're in, you're the
Yeah.
wrestler's realm, and kind of thing like that, and knowing where you fit and kind of line up in that stuff. And it's like if everybody's doing all those moves, you're taking a tool out of the toolbox when it comes to like, hey, this is what distinguishes Brian Cage from Sami Zayn, or this is what makes somebody different, like Rob Van Dam, different from Big Show. It's just It's a head scratcher when I see that kind of stuff. I mean, it obviously catches you off guard. It's like, oh wow, look at that. But it's also like, does that
I
really
hate
help the
it.
story?
Yeah.
Yeah, does that really help the story?
One of the first times that I saw was same year, I guess, 2013. So it was between 2010 and 2013 that I really learned the business was changing in that manner. And when I went back to WWE for that return run in 2013, that's when I met Seth Rollins, and I couldn't believe he was picking people up like a power bomb, running across the ring and throwing them into the turnbuckle. Like I couldn't believe this guy was doing that
Yeah.
because he wasn't Brian Cage or Batista, and that move would be so impressive if it was one of them. But then with him doing it, it's almost to me. I mean, it was still cool from a perspective, but as far as like the realms of wrestling and their size and the physicality that's usually going along with that, it almost came across to me like a wasted move.
Yeah, like forgettable because it's just like, oh, it's cool that a guy that size, like, wow, it's impressive a guy that size can kind of do that. But it's also like, well, what kind of significance does that have moving forward? You know, it's just like I remember how amped up I would get when Shawn Michaels would tune up the band for a super kick, and now you see him all the freaking time.
And the worst is when they don't sell it. They take a super
Yeah.
kick, bam, and they stand there, and they take another fucking kick, bam, and they still stand there. And they go and they clothesline that guy, and then they sell. And it's like, dude, every time that happens too, I got to pause it and show Katie, like, you see how they're no selling that, right? No sell, no sell. And now, boom, he hits him with the move. Okay, and now he's selling a little bit. And sometimes she'll be like, well, maybe he's doing like what we call the drunk sell. You know,
Uh
like, there's no reason to do a drunk sell. Look what he did. Like they'll get schoolboyed. 1, 2, kick out and come up like they're wobbly, like they just got a
huh. Oh
DDT. And it's like they are not believing in what they do.
no.
And I'm always pointing that out. And that actually led to a discussion between me and Katie. I was like, I could help a lot of those guys down there, guys that are starting out, but have been trained some. I don't think I could do it from scratch. I don't think I'd have the patience or the know-how to teach somebody from scratch. But if there's people that are already working and shit, and wanted someone to sharpen them up and make them better, But then again, maybe my way is outdated. Who am I to say?
How much when you're on the indie scene or you're backstage at something else, how often do you get people asking for you for advice when it comes to stuff?
Um, It happens probably usually once a show, sometimes twice a show that I'm
Okay.
at. And a lot of times it's like, man, I'll try. If it's TV, I might be busy filming and walk around. Usually, a lot of times when they ask afterwards, they'll say, did you get a chance to see it? And I'm like, man, I'm sorry, no. Or I just saw a little bit, were you in the corner and I saw you move. It looked really good because, I like the explosive action, like you waited and moved and that was good, but I'm sorry I missed the rest of it. It often comes like that. I saw a guy on TV a couple days ago on well, I guess it was old footage from Tough Enough.
Oh.
Um, oh, actually, now that I think about it, this was on wrestlers that have screwed up and are no longer around and have been caught in scandals, right?
Oh
And
boy.
this was Velvet Dream.
Oh, Velveteen Dream. Yeah.
Velveteen Dream, yep. I
Yep.
saw him on TV, and I was just telling Katie, like I remember meeting him at an indie show in Baltimore, and he did just that. He came up to me and he said, "Hey," he said, "if you get a chance, I'd love it if you could watch my match and get any pointers, whatever. I'd be happy to have." I said, "Well, I'll try. When are you up?" I watched this match. I watched the whole match, and everything he did was awesome. Like afterwards, I was like, dude, like everything was just right on the money. There wasn't, nothing stuck out in my mind to tell you to do different. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. Everything was great. And, you're probably going to have a good career or whatever. And that was before he was Velveteen Dream. but he was good. But I guess he knew he was good. And I remember seeing him on that Tough Enough, and he was like really, his ego took over, and he was saying he's the only one out of everyone there that even knows how to wrestle and all this stuff. But that stuck out in my mind when you asked me about that, and I am happy to point things out. But what's horrible is if someone says watch my match, and then afterwards they don't want to hear what I what I had to say, because they want to listen to everyone else that said great match.
Wow, man. Yeah, that would be like, well, F that then. I would be like, you know what I mean? Yeah, all right then. Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fucking people, man. People drive me nuts.
But usually, about once a match or once a night or so, like somebody will pull me aside and ask me if I get a chance to see their match. Same thing when I work with people a lot of times,
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, Seth has a couple super chats. Thanks for the $10, Seth. He says, how about when opponents gingerly help each other balance on the top rope to do a Spanish fly or something? Why do something so obvious, cooperative, and fake? Yeah, I'm with you, Seth. I think we all are on that one.
The worst. What's even worse is when they walk the top rope.
Yes.
The person holds their hand and they don't even make it look like they're trying to pull him down, or I used to, like, if Sabu would walk, I would be like working on his legs with my other hand. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like trying to hit his knee or try to shake him or try to pull my hand, like you the thing is, and I don't know if I said this here or not, because I said it during the documentary the other day, Sheik taught us when you go through the curtain, you have to have the presence of mind that all eyes are on you the entire time until you get back through the curtains. And I've just always had that presence of mind. And if I'm in a tag match and I'm on the apron, I'm working my ass off. And it does feel like some people are just looking at me. They're not even watching the match. So even when I'm out there, it's not like a break, like time off. And so many of the guys and girls, but I mean, so many of the generation now doesn't seem to keep the commitment. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Katie just came home.
Oh, but, what's up, Katie?
Anyway, a lot of, that's like when you stop what you're doing to balance somebody and you forget that you were wrestling them. You want to try, pull your own arm or something. It's just like when someone's outside the ring and they're looking up and the person hasn't even hit the other ropes yet. That's coming down to jump over the rope. I do that too. I pause that and I show Katie. I go, look at there's 3 guys staring up there, and the guy right now, he just hit the other rope. He still has to run all the way across the ring and then jump over the top rope. And they're standing there like they're playing volleyball. Like maybe they're expecting him. And if it was up to me, I would say, hey guys, what's wrong with grabbing the back of your neck? Grab your back. Something, and then guess what? Now you're still working. But to take the net out and they each are holding one side of the net and looking up, and then expect us to get back into supporting them when they do something that they think we should pop at. It's like, no, you lost me, dude. You already lost me. You disconnected me.
Right.
You talked through my porn scene.
You're making me mad just talking about it. Seth adds, my other pet peeve is thigh slapping on every strike, even when it's like a punch to the stomach. I think thigh slap should be for finishers only, like Chris Adams' super kick. So how about that? What do you think of that?
No, it's something. Hi, baby. It's something that happened. It happened during there's a little bit of delay, so I can see my lips moving after I talk. Wow. It's something that happened during that same time period. Whoever between 2010 and 2013, 14, whoever trained all the wrestlers that were trained during that time, taught them to slap their leg when they do anything, and taught them it's okay to run by each other. What's that move? where like you go hit the ropes and then I run into the same ropes you just hit and run right by you. And then you come out to the middle and then you turn around and now I'm coming off the ropes and now I go to hit you and you duck it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's awful.
That came out the exact same time that the era of the slapping one's leg came out. And man, I've never been a fan of it. You know, sometimes it's appropriate and other times it's not. Channing Decker up in Canada. Um, last time I don't know, it might have been the first time. I've wrestled him a few times. One of the times that I was wrestling him, though, he was talking about some idea that he had. This was earlier in the day, and he just wanted to like feel something out or whatever. And anyway, I was like, he went up to me to do an elbow, and he like smacked his leg while he did that, while he's just like thinking himself through something. And I was like, did you just slap your leg? You slap your leg when you elbow? He's like, yeah. You know, like, doesn't everybody? I was like, oh my God, dude. And he was one too that represented the whole new era. He was upset that I only wanted to use one table because he wanted like at least two tables, two doors he wanted to break. And like he, you know, every match has to be like main event, extreme ECW kind of match. And anyway, he wanted to do like every move. He said that he learned a lot too from working with me, and I'm sure he did because I've worked with him a few times. But good kid, good friend of mine. But definitely, the whole time, like first time I met him, I was like, "What?" Like all day, and I was like, "No, come on, man! Like you're." And I remember one time, like I was like, "Man, dude, like." Help me here. And he's like, what can I do to help you, Rob? I remember this conversation, like, yeah. And I was just like, dude, you know, you have to listen to what I'm saying. But it was his show too. But good guy though.
He does the Greek town wrestling.
Yep. That was the first one, Greektown. Yeah, and then I've wrestled him. You saw
wrestled
me
him
at
in
the
Pittsburgh when we
wrestling
went
tour.
with
Also up in Canada, up one of the Providences or whatever you call it up there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the guy you wrestled too in Pittsburgh with at the shithole Rough
Yep.
Shaver Garden.
Got to get him on Only Wrestlers. As a matter of fact, I was telling him about it way earlier when I was at the Montreal Comic Con. I saw him.
Oh, how about that? Yeah, he's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah.
We'll do a couple super chats and then we're gonna get out of here. Rob's a busy man this weekend.
Cool.
So.
Yep. I got to leave early in the morning to go to Winnipeg Comic Con. So I will see you all Saturday and Sunday at the Winnipeg Comic Con.
How's about that? All right, Maddie.
Yeah, Katie's not gonna be with me. I did a video saying she'd be with me, and I want to do another video to tell everyone that she's not. But for the people that are listening, they get a little extra know-how. Just like on the Only Wrestlers, when I leave the videos, I figure it's okay to tell them a little more detail than I tell the public because they're getting exclusive.
They're getting the exclusive, yeah.
They're supporting this project. I feel like that's the way to be the most updated.
Speaking of, Rob, do you want to just real quick do the little video we were talking about where you just plug Only Wrestlers? Hey, subscribe to Only Wrestlers and just go to onlywrestlers.com. Say whatever you want to say, and I'll put it on every clip. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, we can do it. You're up.
Dude, did you know you can subscribe to onlywrestlers.com and keep in touch with your favorite wrestlers? The party never has to end.
All right, I like it. Well, I'll put it on every clip now.
Keep it going well after the signing table. See, that's it. Like, I'll have all these people at the table signing at Winnipeg Comic Con, and I'll be telling all of them, dude, you can keep up with me on Only Wrestlers, and it's free for RVD and Katie.
Hell yeah, it's free. Sign up right now, onlywrestlers.com.
we're having fun with it growing, by the way, watching it. So it will be growing for a long time, hopefully always.
Yes. Yeah. Always evolving, so to speak.
Yeah. Yep. It's designed to.
Yep. All right. We'll do 2 more super chats, and then we're gonna get the heck out of Dodge. Oh, 3 more because somebody else did. Maddie says, "Who would RVD love to frog splash on Raw, SmackDown? Dom Mysterio potentially? Who would you like to frog splash in WWE?"
I wouldn't mind giving Dom one. Sure.
Yeah.
That's a very good pick.
Mhm.
I back you on that. I second that motion. And I've known him since he was a little tiny baby. So I get a kick out of seeing him now looking like he's having fun being the guy in the center of attention instead of just being there to see his daddy. So be cool to give him a 5-star legend splash, put him back in his place, and let him know he's still that little baby to me.
He's such a great heel too. The fact whenever he grabs a microphone, people just immediately start booing him. He doesn't even get a word out, and he's getting heat. It's just he's that good at it. So
That's
it's
awesome. Yeah. Hey, I love that he has the Eddie Guerrero
the
mullet.
mullet and the mustache.
Yeah.
It is great. It's great to add. Oh man, Yeah, Dom's doing some great work.
Yeah. Hey, one thing that I saw earlier that I thought might be worth bringing up. There's a cop here in Las Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
a sergeant that got busted for fabricating crimes, and this video, a bunch of video of him. He set people up like on the the Las Vegas Strip, like where a bunch of people are walking, it's crowded. This asshole who come up, boom, and shoulder check somebody really hard, and the guy would turn around, and then when they start arguing, his boys would be right behind him and arrest the guy. And he was doing stuff like that, trying to bolster his numbers of arrests and making up crimes. He tried to give counterfeit money to one guy. He goes out in public and it sets people up. But anyway, he got busted for that, and then fired. And then while he's in the doghouse for that, now the newest news is they found child porn on his computers.
Wow.
This is a sergeant out here, so
Whoa.
Sergeant Memnon, like the
Man.
Menon, but the lady
Bye,
called him,
Menon.
yeah, that's what I think of. But the lady called him Menon, the reporter. But either way, um, you know, this is a sergeant, that's a cop. So the good guys aren't always the ones that dress like good guys, and the bad guys aren't always the ones with tattoos.
Nope, exactly. Motherfucker, like you think somebody's willing to like shoulder block you and create something like that? Yeah, you're
So
definitely a little. There's some wires crossed there where you're kind of
the
fucking
guy
up.
literally, like when he's getting cuffed, and what is this? It's like, I swear the cops were like right. You guys were like right there after he started this. I feel like this was a setup. He actually says that on camera.
Wow,
And
that's
he's
fucking
right. It
crazy.
was a setup.
It
What
was
a
a
piece
setup.
of trash. So,
Piece of trash on trash day, Rob.
yes. Another reason why everybody should learn their rights, learn to protect yourself and trust people with limitations.
Yes, great point, Rob. Maddie has another chat. I think this is in reference to me. RVD, would Dom play a good heel? Fact, he is so nice. I don't think he's talking about Dom Mysterio because he's already a heel. Would I be a good heel, Rob?
I don't know.
I can be a bit of an asshole if needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can be a bit. Yeah, I can. My brother Marcus can attest to that. I can be a fucking dickhead. I think so.
Yeah. Fortunately, I'm reading from Kyle Z how I knocked out Steve Carino in
Oh, really?
Dallas. They should do a documentary of all the people that have been knocked out by RVD.
What?
Kyle's asking how he does the
Cover him?
super chat too. I'm just reading the chat like right now, getting through here, and
You have to do.
I always
Kyle.
do that like towards the end. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a chat.
Yeah,
Let's
Kyle.
see
You
what
have
the
to go
people are saying.
to One True Sport right now, the One True Sport Network. That's what we're live on. You can use the super chat there. So
Okay, with Dom be a good heel. You know, I think Dom can do anything that he sets his mind to. How about that?
how nice is that? Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
Man, I
So
needed that
takes
boost
is
of
a little
confidence.
cheating.
Mm.
Maybe looking like you're having a little too much fun. That pisses people off.
That does. Oh, when you're having a good time,
Yeah.
and they're having a good time, that is that's some good heat right there. I know. I can smile all the time, and people get fucking pissed off. So,
Yeah.
all right. Hey, call me Joe Smiley. All right, Seth, we're closing out with you here. He just says, thanks for the $5, by the way, Seth. The ECW invasion started with Lance Storm doing a super kick, and it was an oh my god moment. Didn't even thigh slap. Yeah, Lance Storm was good at super kicking. He was good at super kicking for sure.
Yeah. So, it just so happens to be that when I throw a shoot sidekick and try to kick as hard as I can, like say on a heavy bag, I actually will put my hand on the leg that I'm extending and kind of like it's probably not helping a lot, but I kind of help push it. When I extend my leg, bam, to kick and to push, I'm actually like pushing on my thigh with my leg too. So I kind of that's why like I feel like a thigh slap is perfectly fine on the super kick because really it's like a kind of a version of an actual sidekick. And like if you're going to measure, I'm going to kick a target on a wall. I'm going to step back, and the footing and where you put your feet in step and the way you throw your weight through said steppage is all very important factors. And then the other part that's really important is how hard you can push slash kick that leg, bam. And so that's why like I hate like if I do I know that I will kick and push somebody really hard. Like if you hold the shield and you really like lean into it and stuff, there's a good chance I'm going to be able to take you off your feet. That's why I hate when they do like the super kick in wrestling and they'll catch it like with their hands.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's like one of the silliest things that they do in wrestling, which they do a lot of silly things with the super kick. They're not going to sell it anyway, so you might as well catch it. But I just know nobody would be able to catch a step behind side kick, which is or even a shuffle side kick when thrown properly. So there's that. But I thought that is kind of interesting to point out. I actually will put my hand on my leg in a real, because otherwise, your hand is up extended above your leg and you're using it to balance anyway. But I'm throwing all my weight into it behind it, wham, so that I don't have to worry about balancing at that point if I'm going for power. All right,
Wow.
I'm sick of hearing myself talk.
You broke down the science of it for me though, because I would
Yeah.
never thought of that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, heck yeah, guys. Well, cool. We're gonna wrap it up right now. Thank everybody for tuning in on whether it was RVD's YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to. You can subscribe to One True Sport Network. And also subscribe to RVDTV.com. That's where you'll see new episodes every Monday at 4:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can get clips there too. But check out Only Wrestlers. Sign up now. Do it. And get in early on the gig because it's going to be developing and growing too. Be sure to subscribe to us on the audio formats on iTunes and Spotify. Give us the 5 stars. And check out the shop up there too, One Tree Sport. And you can get those T-shirts and merchandise.
If you're already on Only Wrestlers, just to keep you updated, like I said, it's always going to be growing and improving. A couple of things we're looking forward to on the website in the next week or week and a half. One of them is the stories feature, which I plan on using that a lot, like the stories on Instagram. Like I use it on Instagram only to repost, stories, but it's just not going to be easy to keep checking in like throughout the day. Keep everyone that wants to be like in your real life. You know what I mean? Get a peek at what our real lives are, what we do in a day. Like, boom, here I am at the airport. Boom, I got to go, whatever. It'll be easy throughout the day because it lets you add up. That's what stories are. The other thing is the community center where we'll have a community chat room on the Only Wrestlers website. And then for the first time, all the followers and the wrestlers, everyone will be able to actually communicate with each other. And that's going to be like groundbreaking. So I'm already like setting up more promotions to get the word out when the CCC, the community center chat, is open. Pretty stoked about those features, as well as a huge list that'll probably never end. We're always improving, but that's in the next week and a half. So if you're on there, be excited about it. If you're not on there, get on there.
Get on there. Get on there. Rob, somebody's asking too if there's going to be an app. If you guys might have a plan for an app coming up.
You know what? It actually is an app.
Oh,
So Katie saved it on my phone, so I'm not sure. I have an iPhone, but there's a way that you know how to.
Yeah. You go to Safari, then go to the link, and then on the bottom, like, oh wait, there's a camera.
Oh,
okay. So on the iPhone, it's like you go to a link, but then you click this, and then you go to
Send.
You click that button, and then you can go to like add favorites, add to homepage right there, and then that'll make whatever link. It'll make it a icon on your phone like an app, and it'll take you straight there.
Oh, okay. So it's like it's still the web browser, but it just immediately takes you to that, which is that's cool.
See, look, it's an O in the bottom right next to IMDb.
There you go. Yep.
It's an app. It's just it's an app, and then when
you open it up,
when I hit it, oops, then boom, it pops up.
Look at that. So there you go, guys. Check it on out.
That's a good question. Like our partner didn't even know that. He asked the same question.
Yeah.
And we don't know technology if we're 40 or over.
That's it. Me too. I'm like right on the cusp of that too. I'm like, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm always asking Katie, how do you do this? How do you do that? She's my technical advisor. But yeah, awesome. So it is an app. Do that, and then boom, enjoy.
Enjoy. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll continue this.
St. Clown Posse's tour started. They're doing JCW wrestling and the ICP tour.
Tour, yeah.
Yes, and so he's on board with Only Wrestling, so we're supporting him and helping get the word out on what he's doing. And he's going to be using Only Wrestlers while he's on tour, so he'll be keeping his fans, updated through that on the tour. So I feel personally invested into the tour and to seeing, just it's exciting seeing somebody that really gets it, use it, and we're just starting out now to where. I don't think all the wrestlers are even doing content yet. Well, I know some of them haven't logged in. Scotty Riggs, I think, just signed in today for the first time, maybe. And Jomo Morrison says he's like he still has to get around to it to get to know it or whatever. And so there's a lot of guys in that. But they can all the creators can set their price to free if they want to just collect followers. And then not work yet, but it's up to everybody individually. But they probably don't even know that, or Jomo probably doesn't know that.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. That's probably what I'll do with mine. Is get the people in and give them a taste, and then I'll charge them.
I got some bookings coming up. I'll be taking my phone with me, and I don't know. I keep thinking like maybe I can just put it on live feed and sit it on the table for a while when I'm signing or something.
Yeah, why not? Get a little added interaction kind of thing going down.
I don't even know how to tell like how many people are watching or whatever, but it's still new to all of us. And I got a couple of bookings coming up, and one of them is even a wrestling match that I will share information with you next week about.
How about that? So, guys, ooh, interesting. We got, but he'll be in Winnipeg this weekend, right? So check
Yes,
him out
sir.
coming up at the Winnipeg convention going on there.
Winnipeg Comic Con. I'll
How
be there
about that?
Saturday. I'll be there Sunday. On my way in a few hours.
There you go. There you go. Yep, October 26th and 27th. You can check it out at the Winnipeg Comic Con. So do that.
No
And
lies.
no
No lies
lies.
detected.
And go to GreekGlass.com to get your RVD glass. Don't forget about that. Support
Show you
those
guys
guys there.
videos at Great Glass. I know I owe everybody videos. Only Wrestlers is going to help me get better at getting content.
Getting content. That's what it's all about here, guys. So we thank you all for tuning in. Rob, we're almost at 10,000 people tuning in live right now. So how about that?
Whoa.
How crazy is that? That's pretty awesome.
There's a lot of fucking people, dude.
Right? You can't beat
So I
that.
appreciate everyone for tuning in, dude. Check out onlywrestlers.com if you haven't yet. We're always getting more wrestlers to join, and then it's up to them what content they give. So, you know, it's getting a sneak peek into their real life. It's extending the experience that you got for 2 minutes when you were getting the picture with them that one time. And like I said, I'm able to respond to all my messages so far. And I just do like daily videos on my feed right now while we're still testing it. And I add thumbnails that have nothing to do with the videos whatsoever. But I'm looking forward to the stories. And that's coming soon.
That should be
Katie and I are always free. And is it the OW or the OWA that's free? I'm always confused about that. Do you know?
I think it's the OW one, the one I think I signed up for.
I think so too, because I think it should be OWA because the association is the fans with the wrestlers. So, but I got to ask my partner to explain that to me again. Something about what he's putting on them. But,
yeah, that's probably the key aspect of it. I think it's the actual Only Wrestlers account that's a free one for right now, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. But check it out, onlywrestlers.com,
right.
and give it a gander. It's fun stuff. So this has been fun too, Rob. We'll have to chat next week, right? So
yep, we'll talk to you next week, and we'll have some interesting stuff to talk about for sure in the way of this guy.
That guy right over there, Mr. Rob Van Dam. All right, guys. See you next time here on One of a Kind with RVD.
See you.
See ya.
Great night.